Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai.
Today we want to continue from where we were yesterday, talk a little bit about events in life, but as events are conductors of forces. So I'll just touch upon the three forces a little, the three forces. Anybody who wants me to repeat in Gujarati, please say so. Anything that I say and you feel that you've not understood in English, please tell me, that I'll repeat it in Gujarati. Right? એટલે વચ્ચેથી કહેજો મને. જે ન સમજાય. Don't say you're feeling shy or anything. Just tell me, repeat kar leso. Just a cosmological background. Three forces, na? Ke every manifestation, બધું જે વ્યક્ત થાય છે, is the result of three forces. Right? Whether on a gross scale, lower scale, or whether on a subtle scale. Sthulthi, Sukshma. Life is a play of two laws. The law of three, the law of seven. So our three forces ne samajhવું બહુ જરૂરી છે. It's very important to understand the three forces. My guru used to start with a story. He would say, when nothing was there, everything was in a state of rhythm and balance. But in that state of rhythm and balance, which he called Prakruti, a drop fell in, which was the desire of the divine to express. That desire of the divine in our Shastra is called as Ekoham Bahushyam. Right? The desire of the divine to express itself. The three forces which were in a state of rhythm and balance, they lost their balance to fulfill that desire. This is the background of Purush and Prakruti. Prakruti, three forces in a state of rhythm and balance. The drop falls into the ocean, the desire of the divine. This drop falling into the ocean, in Tantra it is said that Shiva's sperm fell into the yoni of Prakruti, of Shakti. The drop falls into the ocean. The three forces which were in a state of rhythm and balance, they now come into a state of imbalance, and one force comes out and says, okay, it is his desire to make the world, I will make the world, let me make the world. But how to make the world? With what to make the world? With what material to make the three universes? So, another force came out and said, you want to make, I'm willing to be made. You can use me. Use me as a material. Use me as a plasticine. Use me as the clay to make the universe. Now, here a law comes into operation. Unless these two forces are one against the other, the universe cannot be made. They cannot both be in the same team. The batsman has to be against the bowler. Only then can the match be played. If the batsman and bowler both say we are in the same team, it cannot be done. And that is why in the very basis of the making of the universe, there is violence. Because the Rajagun is against the Tamagun. The active force is against the passive force. This is the basic law. And it is out of this action of one against the other that the third came in and said, let me balance you two. From the subtle to the gross, the subtle which we call as Swaha, the gross which we call as Bhuva, Bhu, the whole universe with all its forms, all its bodies, all its variety, all its energies were built by the combination of three forces. It is these three forces which are there in every action. Yesterday when we studied the law of the pendulum, it was actually just a manifestation, an expression of these three forces. One force is going in this direction, one force going in the other direction, and one balancing the two, the three forces. Everything in life is these three forces. In Sankhya they are called as Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. In English we will call them as active, passive and neutralizing. Now, it's a very deep study. Maybe some other time we can go into the calculations which made the universe. And when we go deep into the Indian Shastra, we will see they have tables like we have the chemistry periodic tables of how the subtle formed into the gross, it descended into the gross. Today I want to talk about, because we talked about the pendulum yesterday, the three forces in our daily living, everyday life. Now, all of us have to look within and see whether we still expect anything from life. What do we expect from life? Deep down within us, is there a desire that tomorrow will be better? Some things will, some forces will arrange and something will be better tomorrow. Then which force are we conducting? Which force are we conducting? Please see this within you, because all of us have it, tomorrow will be better, tomorrow will be better. Which force are we conducting? Now I'm taking you on a journey to see life not as people, to see life not as objects, to see life as a play of three forces. This is a different view of life. Right? It's a different understanding of life. So, supposing I have an expectation from life, oh, tomorrow I want to buy a pair of shoes, day after I want to do this, day after I want to do this. These expectations of life from life keep on coming, right? You come, you hear a little bit about meditation, you hear a little bit about rhythmic breathing. You feel by doing this tomorrow I will get better. Right? Which force are we conducting? Which force are we conducting? Desire is the active force. Now, as long as our happiness depends on tomorrow events taking a certain shape, which force is going to come to meet us? Which force is going to meet us? The passive force. The passive force. Right? So, समझाई છે સમજાય છે huh? As long as there is desire inside, as long as there is something, that something will be better tomorrow, my son will get a better job, my daughter will pass in her exams, right? Maybe I'll have a little more money tomorrow, a little better car tomorrow. So as long as that desire is there within me, that things will be better tomorrow, am I inviting the passive force? Yes. Yes, I'm inviting the passive force. It is an invitation for suffering. That is why consciousness is very important. Each moment, am I conducting this active force? If each moment I am conducting this active force, the passive force is going to meet me. Now let us divide this passive force. In life and in myself. What would be an example of passive force in life? You can have many examples. Passive force in life. I will say that for the last 3 months, I have been looking for a job, but I cannot find a job. There is some passive force in my life. Are you understanding what I'm saying? This happens to all of us. We are talking about our own ordinary lives. Right? Someone will say, my son saw 100 girls, but nothing is clicking. Right? Okay. Passive force in life. And there must be recognition of passive force. Right? Because yesterday she asked a question. What was your question? Yeah, what was the question?
That it doesn't seem to be equal.
Right, so we are coming to that today. We are coming to that today. We are coming to that. Now, when you talk of a law, the operation of a law, everything seems so simple, no? Right? But life has no guarantee. It has it has never any guarantee to work the way we want it to work. Right? You know, we used to say, what is the difference between dreams in the day and dreams at night? What is the difference between daydreaming and night dreaming?
Night dream gets over, daydream doesn't.
Imagination.
No. In the daydream, there is no passive force. In the daydream, there is no passive force. In my daydream, there are no obstacles. Right? So if Lata Mangeshkar is singing a song, I can also daydream that I am singing a song and 1,000 people are listening. Right? And everybody is clapping. Right? But in the night dream, if I have that, then somebody is going to throw a shoe. So, in the night dream, there is passive force, obstacles. Right?
You mean desire is the night dream? Night dream is what? Desire?
All dreams have their motive in desire.
Okay.
Right? All dreams have their motive in desire. Now, so we have an example of second force in life. I'm not getting a job, right? I'm not finding the right girl. I'm not able to pass the exam. These are all passive forces in life. What is the passive force within me? What is the passive force within me? The passive force within me.
Not accepting.
Very famous slok from the Gita, no? Dhyayate vishayan punsa sanghaste shupajayate sanghat sajayate kama kamas krodho bhijayate. What is the passive force in life? If the active force is desire, what is the passive force in life? All the negative emotions. All the negative kamat krodho bhijayate. Can you see? Right. All the negative. Is there a relationship between passive force inside of me and passive force in life? The more frustrated I am, the more irritated I am, the more my desires are unfulfilled, I'm depressed in life. Is it going to invite the similar events tomorrow?
Yes.
So today we want to talk about how the inner state invites the future event. Now, what is the way out of this? The first step, the way out of this. Because how much of passive force have I collected in my safe deposit vault? Unconscious mind, in my subconscious mind, how much of passive force have I collected? Right? How much? And that is lying there. Will it allow the pendulum to swing in the opposite direction? Can you see? It will slow down the swing. You were asking this only, no, yesterday. You get it? I'm holding on to so much of negativity inside of me. That negativity can only invite frustration tomorrow. Now this law has to be apparent. Now, can an object convey force? Can an object convey force? How? Supposing I come to your home and you have bought a new beautiful TV, right? And I'm looking at that TV greedily, right? Greedily. Which force am I conveying? The TV, which force is that TV conducting for me? Huh? The active force, desire. The active force, desire. Right? But I'm, say, maybe interested in meditation, in prayer or something, and I come to your house and I see the same beautiful TV and I see it as an obstacle to my desire to meditate. Which force is it conducting? The passive force. Is it now clear that objects can convey either the active force or the passive force? It is our consciousness. Our consciousness. Right? So every moment the objects may be the same, but every moment they may be conducting different forces. Now, if every force has an equal and opposite reaction, then every desire I make or I continuously live in this desire, because we are desiring machines, right? Is it continually attracting a passive force? Whether the passive force comes to meet me tomorrow or after 20 years is a different time. It depends on the string of the pendulum. Can you understand? So, that is why it's so important to be conscious of motive inside, to be conscious of desire inside. And as long as we are desiring, we are always going to live under the law of the pendulum. Now, take very small instances in life, very, very small instances in life, right? Somebody has to meet me at a certain time. He or she does not turn up, and I lose an important contract, right? This is ordinary life, right? Now what do? I am blaming the other person. I am complaining. Am I creating more passive force? And that passive force is going to invite more suffering tomorrow. Can you see how karma works, the law of karma works over here? Please put all your knowledge of karma on the side, right? Now you've come here, definitely there is an inner aim, an inner desire that you want to rise in consciousness, otherwise you wouldn't come here, right? This is your aim, this is your desire. But you must be aware that passive force will come to meet you. It has to come. When we look at a life, we don't look at the events in life, we look at the objects in life. I'm going to go into that next. So we have to see what leads to attachment, what leads to detachment. This was in my Guru's words, but I won't use my Guru's words. I'll use Gurdjieff's words. What is life force? What is work force? these two things must be very clear. At least intellectually, we must be very clear about these two. Life force and work force. When we study the bhajans of Ganga Sati, she uses two words, કે પાનબાઈ તું સજાતીય અને વિજાતીયનો ભેદ પર સજાતીય જે જાત તરફ લઈ જાય, વિજાતીય જે જાતથી દૂર લઈ જાય. તું બંનેનો ભેદ પરખ. Your inner discrimination, you must have this inner discrimination capacity. What is taking you to sadhana? What is taking you away from sadhana? What is taking you away is the attachment center, life force, the attachment center. See, we are here together for a few days, just 5 days. This knowledge which is coming through me is not my knowledge. It has come from some conscious circle of humanity. My Guru conveyed it to me is a different matter. Right? People come and they say that we want to attend, but there are guests at home. There is a marriage I have to attend to. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? What are they stuck in? Life force. You see, for me it is very difficult to tell anybody what the value of what is here. It's very difficult to tell because I have to be very careful that my I does not come into play, that my desire that more people come to hear me does not come into play. To be very aware of that. And still I realize people say, but no, I had this to do and I had that to do. And this is the path of sacrifice. If you can't sacrifice a marriage, you will never get it. If you can't sacrifice for 2 hours being with your friends, you will never get it. With the guests coming home. Then that inner white hot heat, because God wants all 24 hours, but you're not even willing to give 1 hour. Not even willing to give 1 hour. And unless there's something sacrificed, nothing is gained. We have to pay. Nothing is free of charge. There must be a sacrifice involved. When we talk of free of charge, we only mean money. Right? So, are we still stuck in life force? There are guests at home, I have a marriage to attend, I have to do this and I have to do that. Then we are still stuck in life force. Right? Then this is not the path for us. Then what Ganga Sati is saying, Sajatiya and Vijatiya no bhed parak, but we don't have that discrimination capacity within us. So, to be able to see the second force in our life, today you have come here, but tomorrow obstacles are going to come. They have to come. That is the law. Just see small things in life. If you observe, you will see the obstacles each moment. I sit down, supposing I sit down to write this note. The minute I sit down and I write 2 lines from inside, let's have a cup of tea. Let's have a cup of tea. Can you see? And then today's world, the phone is always there. So then again you write 1 line and the phone goes tung, 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 and you know somebody has sent a message. Right? Let's look at the message. Right? And when you realize it, after 1 hour, you've really done nothing. I don't know whether you experience all this, but you see, this is something which I observe every day, the passive force. And it needs real awareness to deal with the passive force. I was writing these notes. Of course, this one was an old note, but this I wrote today. That I thought that let me take one example from the Bible. So the example I wanted to take was Christ's parable of the 10 virgins. And so I said that let me just read it again. So again, you're looking at the note, you click on the internet. Can you see? And the minute you click on the internet, you're in dangerous territory. In dangerous territory. Right? So, any aim we make in our life, any active force we make in our life, our aim is to rise in consciousness, right? But obstacles have to come. This is the law. And we must have the discriminating capacity to see which obstacles can I just bypass, and which obstacles is it necessary to give a little water to give a little food to. It's very important. To be able to see the second force in life. The third force is still very far away. We don't see the second force in life. Sattva is very far away. Sattva means understanding. Understanding can come from life. Understanding can come from sadhana. Right? So there are two second forces. In life, I am not getting a job is a second force, passive force. But I am irritated inside is also passive force. Similarly, there are two third forces, sattva. There is the sattva of life, there is the sattva of sadhana. Now I have an image in front of so many people. And somebody throws a stone at that image. Somebody calls me something. The understanding of life is that I must protect my image. The understanding of sadhana is that I should dissolve the ego. Can you see both the understandings? Which understanding do I choose? If I choose life, then I've gone into life force. And if I choose my sadhana, I've gone into work force. In the first day we talked about essence and false personality. If I choose the understanding of life, what becomes powerful? The false personality becomes powerful. And if I choose the understanding from sadhana, do sanyam on your irritation, look beyond it, let it dissolve, then the essence becomes powerful. I cannot have both. Right? So it is moment to moment. I have to make this choice in life. For me, I'm very grateful because these ideas which I convey, very few people come to listen to it. So to have such a big crowd is something very big. My ego is very satisfied. Right? Because nobody is interested in these ideas. It takes a long time to digest this. Now, let us talk about the events of life. What is an event? What is an event? What is an event? Through our senses, do we see an event or do we see objects? Objects. We don't see the event. We see objects. Events have to be mentally and emotionally realized. We must be able to see what force the object is conveying. Now, in this talk of event, even people are objects. Even people are objects. Supposing I see a table, a chair, and a person sitting there, and a tree, these are all objects. There is no event. But supposing the tree falls down, the table is broken, the chair is crushed, and the man is injured, it becomes an event. It becomes an event. There was a combination of three forces. Suddenly all these objects which were there, the man, the tree, all of them started conveying different forces, active, passive, neutral. An event came into place. But before the event, they were just objects. Suddenly those objects are related to each other. They were not related to each other, but now there is a relationship between them. This table is just an object, right? But if you put my breakfast on the table, now the table is giving me a force, conducting a force. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? I hope I'm getting clear in what I'm saying. What is the difference of just an object and an event? The object in an event, when it is conducting force, what is the difference?
The active force is in working?
No, all the forces are working. But when there is just objects, there are no forces at work. So, what is the difference between just being an object and that object now is conducting force as an event in life?
Transfer of energy, movement.
Supposing you go to a play, natak, play, right? So you will see some actors are acting in the play, they are taking part in the drama, right? But there are many actors who are extra, right? They are behind the scenes, right? Similarly, you go for cricket. 11 players will be playing, but there will be a couple of players who will be sitting on the sideline. So these 11 are taking part in the drama of cricket. These actors are taking part in this drama over here. Similarly, this table is an object, but the breakfast came on the table, it is now taking part in the drama of life. Can you see the table is now conducting a force which is now going to make an event. I'm going to sit down to eat my breakfast on the table. Till then it was just an object. See, we must be able to recognize these three forces. Have the vibrations changed? Can you see? When it was an object, it was nearly dead, like a mineral, like a stone. But suddenly now it has been brought into the drama of life. The table is the same, but the vibrations are different because now it is conducting different forces. I don't know. Suppose I have a watch, right? Supposing it is a gold watch, right? So I look at it, and then again I look at it. It's just I'm looking at an object. It is not conducting any force. I'm just looking, gold watch, right? Now say somebody steals that watch. Has that watch been brought into the drama of life? Yes, it is. Isn't that vibration higher than just the watch lying? Yeah, please, go ahead.
So with the event, something gets activated.
I'm trying to make you understand that objects are just objects, but when they come into an event, they are conducting forces. That is why I talked about the three forces. You understand what this takes time to digest. You see what I'm bringing to you. People who have been with me, sometimes they tell me it took us years to understand what you're saying. So don't worry. Don't worry. I was worse than you. Huh? Now, the breakfast has come on the table, but the tea is cold. The tea is cold. So, what state is the event going to create inside of me? A positive state or a negative state? Negative state. It is going to create a negative state. Now, we got to understand this. We'll go into that. So please try to see that objects are objects, people are objects, but when an event comes, those objects are rearranged in a certain pattern with each other, and a certain relationship comes into those objects. Try to understand. Supposing there's a war. Is there a rearrangement of objects? Right? So many young people who should be at home or doing their job will be now fighting at the front. There has been, because of an event which has come and taken over us, there is a rearrangement of objects. Objects are conducting force in a different way. Here I am standing, I am just an object. But an event comes and I don't realize it, the next moment I am violently angry. Violently angry. The moment goes away, the event goes away, and I'm wondering, why did I get angry? But I can't see that I was hypnotized into an event in life. I was hypnotized, caught, like a whirlwind came and took away all the roofs. Right? A cyclone came and took away all the roofs of the houses. The roofs were objects. But the cyclone came, the roofs got caught in the events of life.
Aren't we creating the events only?
We are not all that's what I'm just coming to. I'm just coming to this point. All events are already created. They are lying in a bag somewhere.
We just have to take it.
And we invite something. And we invite something. Right? All the events possible to man are already created.
Who creates it?
That's the wrong question. They're lying there. They're lying there. So I wanted to just bring to your consciousness what is an event and how three forces are involved in an event. Someday we will go very deep into the three forces. How they manifest what, and there's another law of how they play in the world. Right? Now, when we talk about our life, what are we talking about?
Events in life.
Events. None of us are talking about inner states. Inner states. The event was the tea was cold. The inner state was positive or can you see what I'm trying to say? That the event, the tea was cold, it brought in me mechanically a negative state. Negative state. Can I consciously, even though the tea is cold, bring a positive state?
Yeah.
This is the whole trick. This is the whole trick. If I am hypnotized by the event, then I'm gone. The wicket has fallen. Right? Now, so we first must divide life into two things. Outer event, inner state. Outer event, inner state. What is spirituality? Is it concerned with the outer event or the inner state?
Inner state.
Can you see, I come to do prayer over here, right? But I'm saying, you gave him 10 rupees, but you did not, you gave me only 5 rupees, right? And his son married a beautiful girl, but my son did not marry a beautiful girl, etc., etc. What is the inner? The outer event is of prayer. What is the inner state? Has the right inner state come to meet the outer event? No. Right? Spirituality is not about the outer event. It has everything to do with the inner state. Inner state. What inner state am I in? But when we talk of our life, we do not talk about the inner states. We are only talking about the outer events. So if I say my life was happy, it means outer events were good. I may have had a bit of money. I may have had a little bit of comfort, etc., etc. That is why I'm saying my life is happy. Now, before I go into this, one thing which remained with the second force. Suffering is of three kinds. Involuntary suffering, voluntary suffering, conscious suffering. Conscious suffering is beyond our grasp just now. We will say that Ram Bhagwan was there. He knew that Sita was going to be kidnapped, but he wanted to consciously go through the suffering. So that is not our cup of tea. Let us put it on the side. Let's put it on the side. Right? It's good to read Ramayana as a mystery novel or something. It's okay. We don't want to go into that. Right? Yeah.
Like, let's say, if I do this, I know that that will happen, or I'm giving up this, but still I'm taking that step. That's more like a conscious.
Voluntary suffering.
That's one.
Voluntary suffering. Conscious suffering is very different. There's only, it starts from a very basic point. Why am I still suffering? Why am I still suffering? I have this one girl who used to come to my camps since she was a child, and I said there's really only, I used to say this many times, there's only one suffering in life. Every other suffering is imaginary. Right? Every other suffering is Maya. Only one real suffering. Why am I suffering? Why am I suffering? Everything else is false. And she got married. And because she had learned these exercises and everything from a young age, she started doing the exercises in her new home. And the husband would throw away the music box and say, "You're not supposed to do these exercises." And the mother-in-law would, and everybody was against her doing the exercises, doing the rhythmic breathing. So she would phone me. She says, "No complaints. I only remember one line of yours. Why am I still suffering?" And I'm working on it. No complaints about the husband, no complaints about the mother-in-law, nothing. It was a very difficult 8-10 years for her. And she's 32 now. 32. So maybe 10 years. Right? The husband has started doing the exercises. This last May, she brought her husband in my children's camp. She was able to bring her 2 children in the camp. Right? And she's telling me just that one thing. She took 10 years, but it changed everything. She changed, everybody else changed. The husband changed, the mother-in-law changed, everything changed. She changed.
What did she change?
Huh?
What did she change?
No complaints about anything. No blaming anyone about anything. She sowed the right seeds for a proper future. Right? I don't think anyone gets it harder than that.
Can't you say that means that happened more spontaneously and naturally by the laws of nature?
By consciousness. Consciousness. She was conscious that she will not complain. She will not blame her mother-in-law. She will not complain about her husband. It's consciousness. And consciousness is the right seed to sow. So then I had to tell her that, look, you now go and teach these exercises to other people. You're the right person. You're the right person. You know, the Jains have a mantra. Namo Ariyantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airyanam, Namo Vajyanam, Namo Loit Sarva Sahunam. Let's just look at it in the life of this girl. She's a living example. She's a living example, right, of the mantra. All the reactions are enemies. All the reactions are enemies, right? Negativity, the negative emotions. You have to be free of the negative part of the emotional center. So the one who has destroyed that is called Arihanta. Arihanta, right? He's free of the enemies. Free of the enemies. Right? Now, once your subconscious mind is cleared, your unconscious mind is cleared of all the anger, there is empty space over there. That empty space is filled with the power to observe the laws of life, to observe how events are happening in life. You understand the law, the invisible, how the invisible becomes the visible. Am I coming across in this? So, that opening up of those eyes to see beyond the norm, to see the action of the 3 forces in life, that is called a Siddhi. So, Namo Ariyantanam, Namo Siddhanam. The enemies have gone out, the Siddhis have come in. Namo Ayaryanam. But now you have to live it in your normal life. Acharanma. Acharanma. It must come into your behavior. Behavior not false, from inside. Not that I'm controlling the anger, but there is no longer any anger. Now in the behavior, it is not there any longer. You're free of it. Acharan. So the enemies went away, the siddhis came, the understanding came. We started living it every moment of our life. Namo Ayaryanam. Acharya. Namo Uvajyayanam. The one who is living it in his normal life has the right to be an upadhyay, teach others. If he is not living it, how can he teach others? If in the small things in life he gets irritated, in the small things in life he gets upset, in the small things in life he gets angry, if his ego is hurt in small matters, then how can he teach others to be free of the ego? Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So, Namo Ayaryanam Acharanma આવી ગયું હવે બીજાને શીખડાવો. Uvajyayanam. Upadhyay બનો. Take the knowledge, share it. Namo Lohit Sarva Sahunam. I bow down to every living being. But when you teach others, others' attention comes on you and a new ego is formed. And a new ego is formed. So then become an ordinary man again. Just dissolve that ego also. Namo Lohit. Such a beautiful mantra. Such a beautiful mantra. And when you learn the intrinsic connections of that mantra, how that one mantra can change our life, transform our life. No? So, there are events outside, there are states inside. Worrying is a state, it is a mood. Enjoyment is a state. Happiness is a state. Forgiveness is a state. Depression is a state. And there are so many states we can be in. These states are either positive or negative. All spirituality starts with observation of states. With observation of states. What state am I in? What state did I wake up in the morning? Did I wake up in the morning complaining about the dinner yesterday? Somebody was late yesterday. Did I wake up in the morning? The beautiful morning. I brought the wrong state to meet the morning. Can you see? So, the inner state, for months I'm planning to go on a holiday somewhere. Right? And the day comes, now I'm going on a holiday. Now, do I bring the right inner state? Or do I bring the wrong inner state? I'm complaining with the coolie for taking more money. I'm complaining with the railways for the air conditioning not working properly. I'm fighting with the hotel fellow. I'm fighting with the waiter. And then of course it only rains when I go on a holiday. So God has just put me in his, Can you see? Then I brought the event I was waiting for. I brought the wrong inner state. It's very easy to go to a hill station, but are we in the right state? And you see this all the time. Supposing somebody says, my son's birthday or my daughter's birthday, and we are making a big party or something. And then we end up complaining about the catering and complaining about this. Then we brought the wrong inner state. So life is all spirituality is about inner states. This must be understood. It has nothing to do with the outer event.
A person can be without state.
Pardon?
Without inner state.
I can't hear.
A person can be without inner state.
Inner?
There is no state.
Can you be without inner state?
Person can observe the inner state. right? But if he is without an inner state, I can't get that. In what sense? Huh?
It's a neutral thing.
No. There is always a like or dislike.
That's what I said.
It's very difficult.
Take it, right? When you say, okay, we sacrifice.
No, just talk a little loudly.
Okay. Each thing has a dual face.
Right.
This is right for me, this is wrong for others. And it can be wrong for me, it is right for me. It is how the person views. That's how the person thinks.
There.
If you have state, okay, there's an event, okay, event did not go as per what we thought. So it is a negative thing, right? So when we think, okay, we say whatever is happening, it is happening properly, then there is nothing negative. It's basically how the person thinks.
But still,
the events or the
sir, when I say everything is happening for the good, there is still dislike inside. There is still dislike inside. We have not observed the state. આને બફર કહેવાય, મન મનાવાની વાતો. કે everything happens for the good. We have not observed the inner state.
No, when you say, okay, everything happens for the good, સારા માટે થાય, but we should able to digest that, then...
Exactly. And that will only come if there is an observer inside. If you are separate from the state. Right? But a person who is not separate from the state will say everything happens for the good only. Because he does not want to make that effort to separate from the state. Right? આ મન મનાવાની વાતો છે. ઇંગ્લિશમાં we call it a buffer. કે એ જે થયું એનું શોક મારાથી સહન થાય એમ નથી, એટલે મેં મન મનાવી લીધું કે ભગવાને આ બધું કરાયું.
That's what Nisha said. And it can be adjusted.
It can be. You can rise. I'm not saying no. It can rise. The most happiness in life comes from what? Events which have happened spontaneously. Which has happened spontaneously. Now, is there a fortunate way to combine with events? I'm going to come to that. Is there a way to combine with events in such a way that tomorrow it brings good fortune? What is the technique over here? We'll look at that. Now, let us go in the sequence of states and then come back to inner states. The first thing which is happening every moment with us is every moment the ego is labeling like and dislike. In this very conversation we had, I don't know his name, right? Dilip Bhai, and between us, so many times it goes from like to dislike. Can you see the pendulum is swinging each moment? Right? If somebody accepts what I am saying, there is like. And if somebody opposes what I am saying, there is dislike. This is a continuous process. Every moment the ego is labeling like or dislike. Now, if there is dislike, there is a negative state. And if there is like, there is a positive state. You're sitting over here, supposing something from the chair, what do you call, pinches you, immediately you go from like to dislike. Every moment we are swinging from like to dislike. There's a lovely breakfast, there's like, but somebody's phone comes, the share market has gone down. Dislike. Right? So this is a continuous inner process of like and dislike. And it's very difficult to be free of this. This happens so automatically. So we are going to take it to stages lower. We want to take it to stages lower because we want to introduce our consciousness somewhere. And at this level to introduce consciousness is very, very difficult. We want to come to that stage where we can introduce consciousness before we like and dislike. We are conscious. We are standing over there. That is called yam. We talked about yam yesterday. No more. That will come later. Now, what does the state do? What does the state do? It invites a thought. It invites a thought. The state invites a thought. I have labeled the state, the ego labels the state like or dislike.
But isn't that in form of thinking?
The thought comes a little later. This is an emotion. This is an emotion. It's traveling much faster than the thought. Right? Okay? Clear over here? See, we're breaking this down. We want to introduce consciousness. Our whole effort is to introduce consciousness.
The like creates a force of desire. Does it come with a passive force?
No, I'm not understanding.
When you like something,
Yeah.
you are creating the desire, force of desire, right?
Yeah.
Does it come with passive?
Yes, but the passive force may come now or it may come later. Right? So we are trying to, we are not just now bothered about the three forces. We'll come back to them. Our aim is to introduce consciousness. At what point can I introduce consciousness? Definitely here it's very difficult. It's very difficult to be standing at the door and not allow myself to like or dislike. Please see, in the instinctive center there is comfortable, uncomfortable. Right? That is in my instinctive center. That is very necessary. Why is it necessary? For survival. For survival. I must know that there is a snake on the road. Comfortable or uncomfortable. But immediately that happens in the instinctive center. The emotional center labels like or dislike. Am I coming across in this? Am I coming across? Now we have the story of Krishna lifting the Govardhan mountain. Right? Govardhan mountain. Right? What does it mean? What is the significance of the story?
Lifting up the burden to protect, and those who have a stronger willpower can only lift up the burden. So efficiently.
Comfortable, uncomfortable is the energy of the five senses. Five senses, instinctive. right? It is sensitivity or sensitiveness, whatever you want to call it, right? Like or dislike is emotion. Like or dislike is emotion. Who is the god of the senses? God of the senses is Indra. The god of the senses is Indra. He is the lord of the five senses, the energy of sensitivity. It is his this thing. Right? But he gets emotional energy free of charge. He gets emotional energy free of charge, because the minute there is comfortable, uncomfortable, like, dislike, automatically follows. And that does not belong to him. That does not belong. You understand what I'm trying to say? He has no right over emotional energy. He has right only over the energy of the senses. So, what did Krishna say? Go Vardhan. Go means the senses. Vardhan means expand. Expand your senses so that you separate this from this. He's talking of the highest state. For us it is impossible. Like, dislike happens. But he's saying separate sensitivity from emotional. If Indra wants, he can take this, but he's not allowed to take this. Of course, then the story that Indra gave rain and all that. But this is the basic thing. He's talking of a very, very high state where the senses have expanded. The senses have expanded, and there is awareness of comfortable, uncomfortable, but there is no like or dislike. When there is uncomfortable, there is no dislike. When there is comfortable, there is no like. It is that state which he is talking about. Govardhan.
I'm not clear yet.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Govardhan, expand your senses.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Don't have emotion?
No. Don't. The senses have to record comfortable or uncomfortable, because they have to protect the body.
Right.
But the emotions, if they say like or dislike, it is absolutely mechanical. He's saying bring consciousness in between.
Oh,
Expand the senses in such a way that bring consciousness in between. Indra was getting emotional energy free of charge. He sent rain. Rain is emotion. Water is the emotional body of the earth. Right? Rain is emotion. Right? But if you've separated that, is this clear to everyone? Right?
So does it mean that when there is less of rain or drought, the entire consciousness of the human is affecting the consciousness of the...
Yesterday we took the law of the pendulum. No? Right? Famine leads to plenty, and plenty leads to famine. But it's a very deep subject. Very, very deep subject. Nature has her own mind. And it is very difficult for man in his small, especially his logical mind, he has to throw it away, to be able to comprehend even the mind of nature. Right? And nature, she needs certain energies at certain times. And that is why changes in nature happen. Man does not understand nature as a whole. You see, man thinks that there's a desert over here, let me build a dam and put water in the desert, I'll grow something. But that desert is playing a role in nature. Okay, can you understand?
Yes.
But you see, man's vision is only so much. Yeah. Like we have nadis in the body, which we cannot see under a microscope. We can see the nerves under the microscope. And the nadis are conveying prana. Yoga says 72,000 nadis, but 12 main nadis. Similarly, the earth has rivers. Okay. The earth has rivers. Water is the prana of the earth. You get it? The rivers are conveying something. Now, when you dam the river, there's a blockage in prana. But man cannot see this. So to understand the mind of nature is very difficult. Very, very difficult. You see, man is very short-sighted. And there's always self-love first. My personal interest. My personal interest. Right? So we can't talk about natural calamities and things like that, because that comes out of the mind of nature. Mind of nature. Supposing science says that the moon is a dead planet. It is a dead body. But supposing in nature's mind, she wants to bring life to the moon. She wants to make the moon, the vibrations of the moon go up. Then she is going to look for certain energies to serve her purpose. Can you get it? Where she is going to get those energies, we don't know. She may have a tidal wave and thousands of men may die. And in that dying, they throw out certain energies, and nature takes that energy and it serves her purpose. So to understand nature is very difficult. Very, very difficult. I'm going to take a risk over here in saying something. Don't ask questions. Very risky statement. So don't ask questions. But in the old days, they used to have something like human sacrifice. Right? At a certain point in time, in a certain place, say they sacrifice a virgin girl, 12 years old or 15 years old. Now, in today's scientific age, it is impossible to imagine. Right? But the rishi, the priest, the high priest, he would know that tomorrow nature is going to bring an earthquake. She is hungry for some blood. Right? And she's going to make an earthquake, and if 100,000 people die, by sacrificing at a certain spot where her hunger is appeased, and if that earthquake can be avoided, then can we do it? Can you understand? So this was the whole science behind human sacrifice. Right? But it's lost now. That science is lost. There is no way man can recover that science. Right? But there was something in it when you look at it. Right? Yeah.
You may have covered and I may have missed, but we were talking about God. Now, where does Mother Nature come in here? What is nature?
We're going off the track.
Okay, no, you asked a question. I don't mind. I'm a tape recorder.
What's the wrong?
What is nature?
What is the question? What is nature?
That is the question. I suppose that is the question.
Identical with God. God is the nature. Often we say, popularly.
No. When we are talking about nature, what are we talking about? What is nature?
Three-dimensional physical world.
Nay, three-dimensional world according to us, the way I'm talking, let us talk in a little cosmological way now. More cosmological way. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? That in nature, in creation, there are processes. There are processes. Processes need energy. Correct? Everything has a hierarchy from gross to subtle, or let's put it the other way, from subtle to gross. The energy of the sun is more subtle than the energy of the planets. Right? The energy of the earth energy of the planets is more subtle than the energy of the earth. And the energy of the moon, the earth is more subtle than the moon.
When you say subtle, you meaning the strength or different?
Subtle. Sukshma. Okay, now let's say on the earth, can you see the difference? Supposing I take an atom of iron on the earth, I can transform it into a beautiful dish, into a beautiful glass, but it still remains an atom of iron. I cannot turn it into an atom of gold. Right? On the sun, atoms are constantly changing. An atom of iron can become an atom of gold. So on the sun there is the law of transmutation. On the earth there is the law of transformation. Am I coming across in this? Of course, man has found nuclear energy, which is actually the secret of the sun, which he has brought to the earth, and he is using that for transmutation. Right? So, the sun is at a different level of intelligence from the earth. Now, say this is the moon, and from the sun some energy wants to be conveyed to the moon. Please don't take this as science. I'm just giving you a kind of outline over here. Actually, this year in South Africa, I'm going to go very deep into this subject. But that energy cannot be conveyed directly. It cannot be conveyed directly. So what does the intelligence do? What we call nature, it creates what we call organic life. What does it do? What is organic life? Supposing this is the earth, it is just a thin film like the skin of the earth. If you go deep down, there is no life. There is only life on the skin. What is this organic life doing? It is eating energy from the sun and throwing it out, which then goes to the moon. Can you see the animals are eating energy from the sun and throwing it out? The plants are eating energy from the sun and throwing it out. Humans are also eating energy from the sun and they are throwing it out, but in humans there is a choice whether he wants to transform that energy or throw it out. All negative emotions throw the energy out. All negative emotions. But because humans have self-consciousness, he can transform that energy which has come from the sun into something higher. He can become the sun. He can become the sun by transforming that energy back to the source where it came from. And that is the whole idea of self-consciousness. Right? So what we call nature is organic life. Organic life serves a purpose in the cosmic creation. It serves a purpose of transformation of energy. An animal transforms that energy, but he cannot transform it for himself. A plant transforms that energy, but it cannot transform it from itself. In a way, a stone is also transforming that energy, because water is coming on that stone. The stone is going to dissolve into sand. The sand is going to become soil. The soil will become the plant. The plant will be eaten by the animal. Can you see the hierarchy going over here? Everything is in a process of transformation from lower to higher. But nature takes that energy away. Only man, at the point of expressing that energy, if he becomes conscious, transforms that energy and sends it up, then he no longer is a machine of nature. Right? He now can rise to the level of the sun. And this is consciousness. This is consciousness.
Wouldn't there be an imbalance when that happens? Say hypothetically, every human starts getting to that level. What I'm trying to say is there would be an imbalance in the nature when that particular factor happens.
There'll be a different transformation in nature.
Consciousness would rise.
There'll be a different transformation in nature. We cannot imagine what will happen. Can you see? If man is free of negativity, free of violence. Today, nature takes energy through only one thing. What? Violence. All negativity is violence. Whether I hit you or I'm aggressive inside towards you, it's violence. Right? Can you see? All negativity is violence. Right? Whether the nature is taking energy from an animal or from a plant, it is violence. But man can transform that energy without violence. And he can at some stage not only transform the energy, he can transmutate the energy. And that is the whole idea of the old alchemical saying, that you take mercury and make it into gold. Mercury is the lower energies of negative emotions. And man transforms that with his consciousness into gold. Gold is consciousness. Yeah? You're saying something? No.
So that's why we said that the whole universal consciousness would rise if we all human beings would.
But can we do it for ourselves?
Yeah.
Can we do it for ourselves?
I mean, if one person also does it, it's a drop in a ocean.
Can we do it for ourselves?
So you can do it with only observer, become observer.
Consciousness. Observation is throwing the light. It starts with observing. Later on it will go into Atma Smaran, remembering. But first we start with observing. Right? Then remembering. Later on it will go into remembering, but first observing. Observing of outer event, inner state. Right? Okay. Oh, time is getting over. Time is getting over. Tomorrow is the last day. Yeah.
The previous thing you have drawn, like there is the instinctive center and the emotional center.
Yeah, I'm very unlucky. I've not taken the centers this time, but I'm just giving it to you, to your intelligence. Yeah.
So, instinctive is we are sensing it continuously. How do we inject in the middle?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. I said it's very difficult to come into when something is uncomfortable. Can you see? I automatically dislike. So for me to bring consciousness over there is very difficult. Krishna can bring. He can do Govardhan. That is his thing. Yeah. Right? One day we rise to Krishna's level is a different matter. But just now we have to start from where we are. Right? So we said the state is positive or negative. The state invites a thought. If the state is positive, where does the thought come from? And if the state is negative, where does the thought come from? Memory. All thoughts come from memory. Thought cannot be made without the involvement of memory. Right? I have not explained how thoughts are made. That is another subject altogether. But where does the thought come from? Supposing I'm in a negative state, the thought will come from? Right? And if I'm in a positive state, the thought will come from? But we must understand one thing, the thought has come. The thought has come. Now what happens? Now what happens?
Consciously you have to think.
Leads to action.
Huh?
It leads to action.
Not yet, not yet. The thought has come. Now what do I do?
More thoughts come.
And this is action, but not the action you're talking of.
You have to observe, you have to realize.
No, not observing. No. What is the next step? What happens?
More thoughts.
Right, but what happens to this one thought which has come? What do I have to do for more thoughts to come?
Judge the thought.
Attach like or dislike.
Sorry. Huh? Yeah, exactly. But what is the meaning of feeding water? I think the thought. Can you see the difference between having a thought and thinking a thought?
Can we say I judge the thought?
No.
Judgment is different.
I've already liked or disliked. That like or dislike has created a state. That state has invited a thought. Now the thought has come.
And I'm thinking about it.
Now, the next step is, am I going to think the thought or not think the thought? I see you. I see you. Right? Now I may have a like for you or a dislike for you. Now that dislike comes. That dislike invites a thought that you've taken away my 10 rupees. That thought has come. I have not yet thought the minute I say I to the thought, I start thinking the thought. Can you see?
All other thought related to that.
The difference between having a thought and thinking a thought. No, I have to bring awareness. I'm just asking you, can you see this thin line? Can you experience this thin line? It's so important. We can bring, so between this, we can bring consciousness. Okay, the thought comes, she has taken my money. I don't want to think the thought. So I brought consciousness in between over here. This is where we start from. Now we can,
It's not clear that without thinking, how can there be a thought? So can you explain more?
The thought comes from the universal mind. I have, according to my structure, I have not yet made the thought and a guest in my home. It's still lying at the doorway. I say I don't want to think this thought. I pause over there.
So you are suggesting that we...
I'm not suggesting.
Yeah, that we capture that, right? that it has not yet taken a formation of...
I have not yet been hypnotized by the thought. The minute I start thinking it, I have become the thought. I have said I and the thought have gone together. Thought. Try to see this. The difference between having a thought and thinking a thought. I have a thought that you are wearing a blue jacket. But I think it that I forgot to give my jacket yesterday for dry cleaning. Can you see the difference between these two things? This is the easiest place to bring in consciousness. We start our observation from here, not with like and dislike. We start from here. The difference between having a thought and thinking a thought.
So when we introduce consciousness, that means we are not going to the next level, thinking a thought. We are just holding at a thought and that's it.
Drop it.
It goes.
Drop it. Cutting it.
Tomorrow I'll take what to do in that state. Today I'm trying to make the map clear to you. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
Thought is a prana. Thought, when thought comes like a prana, something like that happens in the brain.
I'll go very fast. I don't have time. Go very fast. This much is clear? It's clear. See, later on we will bring the consciousness before we have the thought. And later on, maybe if our consciousness rises to the level of Krishna, then we will be free of like and dislike. See, unless we are free of like and dislike, we cannot love. Because I will like you and I'll dislike somebody else. Then I cannot love. Then it is love and hate. Love and hate. But it is not that love where there is no hate. Can you see? Because I'm still liking and disliking. So, for that I have to rise to that level. Govardhan.
Unconditional love.
So that means
Unconditional, but
everything is good.
free of dislike. It has to be free of dislike.
Then that means is everything is good.
Yeah, you wear those glasses, everything is beautiful, not only good. Right. Okay. See, we're nearly finished on time. I'll just try to explain. What is coming in through the five senses is a packet of prana. Again, that contains tamas, rajas and sattva. This is right? It comes in here to a place called the taluka in yoga. A memory pattern comes to meet it. Both these, the mind has to be involved. The mind has to be involved. Right? And what comes in, the incoming impulse, the memory pattern, plus mind involved, right? It becomes a thought. Now the first thought which comes in, right, we say it happened, just like that. At that point, if you can bring in consciousness, you will say, I want to separate the mind. I want to separate the mind. Why should I involve with the thought? I don't want to involve with the thought. Right? I have a thought that you insulted me 5 years ago. Okay, it came over here. The memory pattern came out. And now I take the mind away. I say I don't want to involve with this thought. So one thought is made. Before the next thinking process starts, I bring in consciousness. I bring in consciousness. I don't allow the mind. Now the mind is throwing light. It is not involving. If the mind is involved, there is no light. The minute I separate it, the mind is throwing light. Look, this thought has come. It has come to hypnotize Me. This thought has come. Like you have a friend. He'll say, okay, have a glass of wine. And you say, no. But you'll say, I have a glass of wine. And you say, no. Right? And then, okay, at the last moment you'll say, yes. And then he'll say, one more. And then, one more. And you'll go on a whole thinking process. That thought which has come is like a friend. Can you see? And he is going to hypnotize me and take me to the bad area of town where somebody is going to pick my pocket. Right? Okay.
Here the source of the consciousness is, what is the source of consciousness? It is our...
Pause.
But where does it come from, original? The source of consciousness is our smriti or our essence? Or where does it come from?
नेक्स्ट टाइम वाड़ कापी नहीं जाएगी इसलिए थोड़ा न खाए थोड़ा न खाए कोई तो थोड़ा खाए रे Man has the Atma has three basic faculties: consciousness, attention, will. These are three basic faculties of the, not soul, I'll put. Three basic faculties: consciousness, attention, will. It is his attention which flows out of the five senses and I experience the world. That experiencing of the world is consciousness. The power to hold attention is will. I want to see this and I don't want to see this is will. Today our will is conditioned by desire. We don't know what a free will is, which is free of the conditioning of desire. Now I want to take this attention back to where it came from. It flows out of the senses. I'm taking it back. We went into divided attention yesterday. I'm not going. So, that which is observing attention is consciousness. I see my attention is attracted by this in a shop. I'm observing. That which is observing is consciousness. And that which is stopping me from going towards it is will. Will. And all these have become fragmented. Right? And we have to train this to go back. These are the three things we use. The three things we use to go back in this inner journey. Right? Okay. I'll just add one more thing, even though it's 9 o'clock, our time is over. Is it 9:30 or 9 o'clock?
9:30. Yeah, but asking about the sudden now, but Tamakaro continue karna.
If you want to continue,
no, you are ready to give us.
The soul has a presence, right? I can only hold that presence if my attention goes inside. The one who knows this is consciousness. The one who holds the attention inside is will. You're sitting over here, but is there a feeling of I sitting here, presence? That is the feeling of the soul. I sitting over here. But you will hold it when I tell you, but it will go away immediately because you do not have the will to hold it. You have to develop your will, not willpower. Spiritual will, Atma-bal, not Manobal. Atma-bal. The power to hold the presence. That presence is the soul, it is God. Right? So, these are the three faculties we have to hold the presence. Hold the presence, right? Huh?
How do we distinguish will from free will?
What does willpower say? What does willpower say? Let me change the event. Let me change the event. Right? So if I don't like you, let me change you. So this is willpower. And many people have very, very powerful willpower. They can change events, they can change so many things, but it is all a faculty of the ego. What does spiritual will say? That I cannot change the event, but I can change my reaction to the event. This is the beginning of spiritual will. It understands that we cannot change the events of life, but we can change our reactions to the events of life. And it is from here this spiritual will, the introduction of consciousness. Introduction of consciousness. Right? So, willpower, people have very, very powerful willpower, but most of the people with willpower, towards the end of their life, the willpower gets fragmented. Fragmented. But spiritual will, different. Spiritual, Atmabal. Atmabal. Manobal, Atmabal. Yeah.
No, I'm continuing with the same point.
Yeah.
When we talk about the free will, is there in the free will, that means you are sort of a submission, that something is within your will and something is beyond your will? You cannot control that, or you cannot even go to, exhibit that.
Then my free will, I can change my state.
Free will. Okay.
I can change my state. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? That is my free will. Not willpower.
It's a free will.
It's the free will. But I cannot change you. I cannot change. So I don't like you, but I will try to change you.
So the free will is limited to self rather than outside.
Self. Right? When we did the Mahabharata last year, we took 2 words. Which were the 2 words? 2 words we took. What was the original name of the Mahabharata? Jai. Victory over self is Jai. Victory over you is Vijay. રાજા વિજયી થયો. હા, બીજા રાજાને હારીને આવી ગયો. That beautiful story. Time is going. The beautiful story, you know, of there was one kingdom in old India, right? And the rule was that when the king dies, there was one very intelligent elephant, and the elephant was given a garland of flowers, and he would go and put it on someone, and that person would be the new king. Yeah, and the elephant this time went, and there was one sadhu going outside, and he put it on the sadhu. So the sadhu was caught and brought to the palace. The sadhu said, I have no interest in being the king, but all the ministers said, this is the rule over here, right? And you have to be king. So the sadhu went in one room, and he didn't come out for 7 years, right? In 7 years, the kingdom prospered. There were good crops everywhere, the rains would fall on time, there were no crimes, no negativity, people were so happy, The kingdom prospered like anything. And the neighboring king, he got jealous. He said, my kingdom is not prospering and this kingdom is prospering. So he said, let me attack that kingdom and take away this kingdom. So he sent his army. And the army is standing at the border of the kingdom. And all the ministers are gathering because the king is lying in the room. And they knocked on the room, okay, you have to come out. And he said, what is the problem? So he said, this king has come. Right? He wants this kingdom. So the sadhu said that, okay, you do one thing, call him to me. So they called him. And in India it was a rule, if a sadhu calls, you have to go in those days. Right? And he says, you want this kingdom? Now take it. I wanted to go anyway. It's yours. Don't fight for it. Don't fight for it. So that other king was shocked. And then suddenly he realized that all this prosperity was because this guy was meditating in the room. Can you understand? If one person becomes non-violent inside, everything becomes non-violent. You understand? Right? And he ran behind him. He says, do one thing, you take my kingdom also. Right? So, when you change the inner, the outer has to change. The outer has to change. But we always believe that I have to put you right and make you right. Okay? Understand? The inner has to change.
Catch up a little bit on desire, because you kept on mentioning, and I still just want to know whether why we shouldn't have desire. Because you said desire brings suffering and desire and will. So I just want to know a little bit more about desire.
I'm going to not be able to finish today's topic. We'll continue it tomorrow. I want to show you how to sow a seed of good fortune, but I have to finish, no? Right. Madam, desire cannot be killed. Right? It cannot be killed. It can be understood. In that very understanding, desire becomes weak. We cannot be absolutely free of desire, but we can come to an understanding. Can you understand? Supposing I'm 60 years old, I can look at my life and say, how many of my desires have really been fulfilled? Now in 60 years, if they have not been fulfilled, in the balance 10 years, how many do I expect to be fulfilled? This gives me a kind of understanding that how much of energy, how much of attention, how much of time do I want to really spend in fulfilling my unfulfilled desires.
And why do you talk about 70 all the time? Yeah, was what I was.
I'll talk about 100 if you want. See, I was with Ramdullah Bapu. He was my guru for 7 years. Still is. It's not that I met my guru later, doesn't matter. He still is my guru. Right? जीवन को उम्र से भर देने की बजाय उम्र को जीवन से भर दो. This was his saying. You get it? It's not how long you lived, how well you lived. Right? Whether you lived one moment with consciousness. In this life you had the chance, the opportunity to experience freedom. Did you make an effort at least? Did you make an effort, or did your desires keep on taking you one desire after the other? Then understanding is needed. Okay? Desire is like the setting sun. The more I go to catch it, the further it will go away. I can never catch the setting sun, but from far I can sit and enjoy the beauty. And in that my desire is fulfilled. The very understanding.
But many people live On the hope that tomorrow will be better.
Everybody lives on the hope, too, not many people. Right?
But
Definitely I don't live on this thing that tomorrow my wife is going to take a stick and hit me. Right? I'm definitely going, tomorrow she's going to be so gentle, so beautiful. Right?
But in every religion it is said that the source of all happiness is desire. So one must try to inculcate desirelessness of anything, bad or good.
Just understand it, sir. Just understand it, sir. The very understanding is enough. No? See, we have one character in the Mahabharata. His name is Ashwathama. Right? Shwa means tomorrow. Ashwa means not tomorrow. Ashwa means not tomorrow. Right? So that which is there today is not tomorrow. But it is always there. Thama means sthai. Steady. It is always there. Can you see? So today I have a desire for a car. But that desire is not going to be there tomorrow. Tomorrow there is going to be another desire. Maybe for something else, a plot of land or something. Can you understand what I'm saying? But desire is always there. Thama. It is always there. Right? The form will change. What is there today is not tomorrow. So Krishna knew he could not kill Ashwathama. But you can make Ashwathama powerless. He took the diamond from his head. He took the diamond from... So in the very understanding of desire, desire becomes weak, powerless. The very understanding. It's just an understanding. Right? Then Ashwathama will roam around the earth. You can't kill him. But he is powerless to do anything. Right? So, I hope I have explained desire. Right? Yeah.
Can you please explain 4 states? Yesterday you mentioned from Dhritarashtra to Sanjay to Arjun to Krishna. 4 states of human beings.
Okay.
Do you think Ashwathama, it is so is the rumor and the people say, Ashwathama is still roaming about the earth?
Yeah, many people have seen him also. Right? No, really.
Cursed by Lord Krishna, he is still wandering around the earth.
Many people have seen him. He looks like a hunchback like this. And he roams around in the jungles. Right. Okay. 4 states of consciousness. I'll go through very fast.
Chaturya.
The lowest state is Nindra, sleep. This includes the dreams we have at night. Second state is Swapna. No attention. No attention means no light. No light. When there is no light inside, how does the poet depict me as? Blind. Can you see? He is not physical blindness, he is saying there is no light of attention. It is all gone into attachment. It has all gone into my son, my palace, my this, my that. All the attention is stuck outside. It's not coming back inside. So this is the state of Dhritarashtra. Right? The next is the state of Swapna. Swapna means attention is outside on an object. Attention is outside on an object. I am looking at you in the state of Swapna. All of us live in the state of swapna. Attention only goes out. This is the state of Sanjay. Because his attention went out to see the events which had happened. Right? It's the state of Sanjay. Attention going out. Then comes the state of Jagruti. Awakening. And this happens in stages. But it starts with double-arrowed attention. Now attention is going out also, it is going in also. At the same time, the chariot is between the two armies. This is the state of Arjun. And this increases gradually as the feeling of presence increases inside. The attention goes, but just now when my attention goes inside, it does not go to presence. What does it go to? My reaction in seeing you. Can you see what I'm trying to say? Then I say, what is the cause of that reaction? So it goes deeper inside. And Patanjali has given a whole list of what it sees. Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita. Then it goes to I. So first is Vitarka, Tark Vitarka. Vitarka, Vichar, then it sees the thoughts. We said no, the state leads to the thoughts. Right? And if you don't think the thought, Anand. And Asmita, I. This Patanjali takes us on this journey. So, but that happens with double-arrowed attention. You're sitting here, listening, but are you looking inside at the same time? Then you are in the state of awakening. And that state becomes stronger and stronger. That is why Patanjali said it goes in avasthas. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. And in the last sutra he'll say swarupe pratishtanam. Can you get what I'm trying to say? Swarupe avasthanam to swarupe pratishtanam. Right? And then the last state is what they call turiya, objective consciousness. This state descends. We don't rise into that state. We rise in which state? This. That state descends when we are in this state. The minute we start, something from here starts descending. It is a kind of grace. It is a kind of understanding. As I'm observing you, I'm looking inside, right? I'm seeing my irritation, but there is also some understanding coming of where that irritation, what from, etc. That is coming from which state? Turiya. And as it goes deeper and deeper, one day there is knowledge of truth, knowledge of the laws of life, right? How life operates. That is objective consciousness. We see the truth, we feel the truth, we live the truth, right? That is Krishna. Right? So these are the four characters in the Gita. The four characters in the Gita, right? Four levels of attention, right? Yeah.
So the Bhagavad Gita we hear is a conversation that actually Sanjay told to Dhritarashtra. We never know the conversation that happened between Arjun and Krishna. We actually assume that what Sanjay recorded.
Yeah, what Sanjay told to Dhritarashtra is what we have heard. The second thing is that he is telling after 10 days. Everything is in past tense. He is not telling when the real thing is happening. The king is asking, what did my children do? He is not asking, what are they doing? He is saying in past tense. And this is very important because we brought in consciousness at the time of thinking the thought. But the first consciousness is I got angry, it's over, and I go in past tense. So the Gita is in past tense. So the first level of consciousness is not thinking the thought to bring in consciousness even after the event is over. On the 10th day, Bhishma fell. Somebody came to Dhritarashtra. Till then, Dhritarashtra was very, very sure that we are going to win the battle. Because he said, as long as Bhishma is on our side, we can never lose. And this shocked him, that Bhishma has fallen. He could not believe it, so he called Sanjay and he said, Sanjay, tell me what happened. And Sanjay goes back in 10 days and he starts from there.
And that he shows on TV old. That is the concept of TV, thousands of years old.
Right,
that
right.
was the TV, Sanjay.
Color TV. 3-dimensional. Colored TV. Right. Okay. We'll stop over here. I still have to continue this outer states, outer events, inner states. We want to go step by step into that. Right? We'll continue that tomorrow. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna. Good night.